Here at home, I grow a lot of plants in containers all around the back door so that I've got beautiful colour right the way through the year. Unfortunately, some of that colour is half hardy. So what am I going to do with it through the winter months? Well, in this video, I'm going to explain taking them in and tidying them up. I'm Rosie Hardy, this is Rosie Hardy Gardening. So I have Strobilanthes with the gorgeous purple foliage. I then have Pelargoniums of various sorts. Also I've got Impatiens, which are really great. There is an Asclepias as well, and then there are various Pelargoniums dotted around, cut-leafed ones, Australian ones, you name it. And so all of these have got to be lifted and taken in. Some of them I will take them with their clay pots, because in that way I know perfectly well the clay pots are also going to be protected through the winter, because some of these are very old and they do tend to crack if we get bad winters. So I'm sort of doing two things at once. I'm protecting my clay pots and I'm protecting the half hardy perennials that I've got. Let's start off then. So I've got some here. This is my beautiful purple leafed Strobilanthes, and then down here I have got a mixture of different Pelargoniums. I'm going to do nothing to them at the moment. Once we get inside the tunnel, I am going to tidy them up and make them ready for overwintering within the tunnel. So let's go off and find some more of my beauties. These are my beautiful Impatiens. This is really lovely one. This is Kilimanjaro pseudo violacea, and it is cracking. Now I'm going to run out of space shortly, but let's see. We can probably take this out. No, it's going to have to come in its container. So let's just move my box around so that I've got room for that. And that will work. Yeah, that works. And then I'm going to have to come back and get another load. Is that safe? Yeah, it probably is. I'm not going very far. So this is relatively safe here. I'm going to take this lot to the tunnel first, and then I'm going to have to come back for the last few, which are in much bigger containers. I just wanted to add in a couple of Oenothera, Gaura, and this one I have here, I have it in a container inside my clay pot. This one is going to be taken in where I've got my other plant material, but I also have one down here in the ground. I don't want to cut this one down right now because it's still giving a wonderful display. Look how tall it is. It's a really great upright one. But in a couple of weeks, once this flower has finished, I will be cutting it to half height. And then this one stays outside in the gravel garden until next spring. If you're curious as to which this is a seedling form. We've always had it as Gaura sinuosa, but I'm not sure that's correct. So I'm going to have to do something about getting the correct name of this. I'm going to do the Gaura Oenothera first, because this is always a plant that's requested. So before I do the others. So I have brought it in, as with most of mine, I've got it on in a pot, and I'm going to bring the clay in as well. Now what I need to do is just cut down some of this height, get rid of these long branches here, and make it a much tidier plant. And it's really quite easy. You just literally cut off what you don't need, and the easiest way is to gather it all together like so and cut through. So we are doing that. A little bit to the side here. These are dead pieces so they can go a little bit further. Missed a few, and then there we go. This is going to be put inside here and allowed to grow on. It will also mean that in the early spring I'll get some really good cutting material off this particular plant. Right, I'm going to put it down where it's stored. Now I've got the plants in here, what am I going to do with them? Well, to start off with, you need to get rid of any of the dead debris that is on there. So old leaves which are looking rushed down, get anything that's in here. Double check to see that you haven't got any slugs or snails like this little slug here on the outside of your pots. You don't, and then rub down anything on the bottom. Check that there's no insect life there. You can also quickly just check within the pot itself and see if there's anything that you don't want in the way of insects down on your plant material like that, because quite often you can find slug eggs and everything else in there, and you don't really want those. So I would just clean off the top just in case there's any weed seeds in there. That's not going to matter too much. It's got a good root system. I'm getting rid of any of these leaves which are starting to yellow or have got yellow on there, and then I'm going to take off all of the flower spikes. We don't need that, and that is what I'm going to do. So that's what I will do with all of the pelargoniums. They're all going to be tidied up like that. I'm quite happy with the size and shape that these are. So, and you'll usually find if you look up underneath the leaves, you can see the leaves which are damaged far more easily than when you're looking down on them. So that's just a trick of looking to check that you've got all the ones which are damaged off, so that you're not making it, and you're reducing quite a lot of leaf off here, because they don't need a huge amount to overwinter with. So that one is ready and done. Then its clay pot will not be being stored in its clay pot. Its clay pot, I'll give those a brush out a little bit later, and they will just sit up there until things carry on. Then I've got this wonderful Strobilanthes here with this beautiful purple foliage, and you can see it's put on a lattice of actual root down here, through coming out of the end of its pot and going into what was its clay container. And what I will try and do is just gently teak these out. These are not hardy in the UK, so there are other forms which are hardy garden varieties. So I'm just going to tweak that like that, and then put the pot back on, double checking there are no slugs and snails hiding in any of this area. And then that one, I won't do much to that at all. So we just carry on tidying them all up. What am I going to do with the Impatiens? So here we have the Impatiens. Look at the number of slugs and snails that are there, just sitting underneath all of, they've been there, they've been laying in wait to try and get themselves into a better position somewhere else. Now with these, I'm just going around, I'm getting rid of the big cork that I've got there. More small slugs and snails all on the rims of the pots there. Not so bad on the bottom because it hasn't got very many indentations there. Just going to have a little look, check that there isn't anything that untoward that I don't want in the roots here. I'm just going to clear off what was my cork topping, because while we have this here for the winter inside, it's not going to need those. I can get rid of anything that's not supposed to be there, give it a little bit of a shake, and then I'm going to give this a prune, because I don't want to have all of this growth here right the way through the winter. So I am basically just going to gently take it all off the sides like so, so that if we do need to water it, it can be watered. But I know it feels awful, doesn't it? You're cutting off all of that flower, but it's using up so much energy, and we don't want it using energy over the winter. We want it to be storing its energy and keeping going. So that one will get tidied up, and I will do exactly the same with all of the other plant material that is here. Let's just go. I have a small one of the Asclepias as well as the big one, and basically this has got a bit of dead wood. I'll get rid of that. It's got seed pods. I don't need those. I've collected from my other one, so I'm going to cut the seed pods off. Be aware when you cut Asclepias, you're going to get a little bit of white sap, and then that's all I'm going to do with that one. Again, I'm going to double check that there are no bugs or anything else in there. It's a lovely bright orange and red one. It's a really wonderful bright colour. So that is also going to be there. And then when I've finished tidying everything up, I'm going to store them underneath the benches. So this is a little cut leaf pelargonium. It's a scented leaf one. This one I'm just literally taking all of the dead leaf off there. Again, I'm going to, oh look, little snail hiding there. Going to get rid of that. So the more you can make sure that it's clean and there are no snail eggs or anything else in there. Get rid of the top bit of growth. There's a little bit of weed there. Other than that, that one is tidied up, and that is absolutely fine. I have got tons of pelargoniums to do here. I've got the really big pots to do as well. So this is just to show you what you would do with each of the individual varieties that I've got. The other thing that's quite useful is to have a stiff brush like this, so that when you are cleaning out your clays, it's so much easier to just brush all of the rubbish and the bugs and everything else out. Don't forget to do the bases all the way underneath the lips. Make sure everything has come out, and that will then be your clean clays for later on. And it really makes a huge amount of difference if you keep them all clean. These are very old ones. They are unlikely to be frost hardy, so that is the reason why I am bringing them inside with my plants. I don't particularly want to lose them, so that is just something that I do. I bring them in and I will just stack them up underneath the pots, out of the way, so they can stay dry. The last one that I'm going to show you, because a lot of the others are repetition of exactly the same cleaning up, is this wonderful tuberous begonia here. Cracking red flower on it. It's now at the end. It's not flowering very well. A lot of yellow leaf. It's had one lot of frost already. It is time for it to come in. And all I'm going to do with this is literally quickly cut it off over the top like so. And then that will be dried out. Where I'm putting all of this material is under a bench where it won't get watered, so therefore it stays really nice and dry. Again, just check for any, oh, there we go, another little snail there. And we could take it out, but I think that's quite clean in here. Well, I've just found another snail there. There we go. And then you want to be checking them once a month to make sure that no bugs are in there. Lift them all up, make sure they're not too wet, and that will be good for storing over the winter. I've now tidied up all of my plants here, and I'm going to store them underneath this bench. This means that they will stay dry, they'll get a reasonable amount of light. It's frost free in here, so that's the other thing, and then they won't get watered because they're underneath the bench. And so that just makes sense to me. So let's see, we'll just put them all in a nice tidy line. We've got different types of pelargoniums. That little one can go there. These pelargoniums can all go in the back like so. Don't hit your head on the benching, because that's always very painful. So they're just going to be, you can see I'm not putting them pot thick. I'm giving them a bit of airflow around them, even though they have, they're going to be overwintering in here. I'd rather they had airflow. And then if I need to put anything else in there, I can. So they're all tucked away in there for the winter, going to stay dry, going to be frost free. Thank you very much for watching. Please do subscribe to the channel. If you want to watch another video of mine, YouTube thinks this one is perfect for you.